Peace to you. I hope this finds you well. I'd like to share a little bit of a story that something just recently happened that caused me to reflect on my life a little bit, and it influenced my understanding of what was happening in the moment. So if I may, when we were raising our daughter, my wife and I, we would visit my parents, and we would bring obviously the child with us. And as we were engaging with the child, if it was to prepare her, let's say, to leave, to head back home, and or if it was about eating or whatever, I distinctly remember my mother saying to me, "Why do you talk to her like she's an adult? She's a child. Just tell her what to do." Because that's how I was raised. So that's my mother, that's how she understood it. Well, I didn't, and we didn't, my wife and I didn't listen to my mother or anybody else. We raised the child the way that we thought we should raise the child. And that included, by the way, as a side note, no religious influence. My daughter knew of my beliefs, but there was no religious influence. We didn't make her go to church or anything like that. I thought the best way to show my faith to my daughter was by example of how I treated people. That's how I thought. Anyway, now we're going to fast forward 40 something years later, and I'm staying with my daughter now and her husband and my granddaughter, who's 5 years old. And I've gotten myself in a little bit of trouble with with my son-in-law, my granddaughter's father, because I am treating my granddaughter much the way I treated my daughter when she was growing up, which involves talking to her, not just telling her what to do. Like, for example, if she's watching something on television, here's an example. My granddaughter and I are upstairs watching something on TV. If my son-in-law comes up, he says, "It's time for bed," and virtually demands that the TV be shut off. Yes? If my daughter comes up to tell us it's time for my granddaughter to go to bed, my daughter will say, "It's time to go to bed," and my granddaughter might respond, "Can we finish watching this?" At which point my daughter will say, "Well, how much time is left on it?" And nowadays you can stop, what you're watching, and you can see how much time is left. So what has happened is my daughter has grown up to have a child and raising the child much the same way that her mother and I raised her. You understand what I'm saying? My son-in-law is raising the child much the way my mother and father raised us, me and my brother and my sisters. Very different, yes? So here's the insight that I have. My son-in-law has fallen in love and is in love with the child that I raised. But now he's finding fault, and he's the dad. I believe me, I respect it, and I stand back. But this morning something happened and I felt really awkward, but then I considered this, and I wish I could say to him, "You have fallen in love with the woman that I raised, and now you're criticizing me for doing the same thing or trying to do the same thing with your daughter." But men are men, and that's how we get, and we need to be the kings of the house, and and this is our domain, and I'm not finding fault with him for that. And I need to be aware and step back and allow him to be the dad. But I just wanted to share with you folks the insight that I was given. because he had fallen in love and is in love with the individual that I raised, that my wife and I raised. And that was about fairness and communication and openness, not just barking out rules and regulations. Peace.